Network Arts has a lot of...
Sears presents
July 26th, 2004. This is ABC News Now. Reporting from Boston, Peter Jennings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new adventure for ABC News with, if you remember the 60s, with a little bit of Jimi Hendrix tendency to start us off on this great new venture. This is ABC News Now, and we are at the Fleet Center in Boston, which is, for the next 4 days, the home of the Democratic National Convention. And for the next X weeks, through the Democratic Convention, the intervening time, and then through the Republican Convention, which is in New York, ABC News is going to be on the internet in ways that it has never been before, and discover pretty soon in having music we've not heard for quite a while, and also on digital television in many places throughout the United States. And you can go to abcnews.com, which will explain to you a variety of times in order to find out where we can be seen on television and where we can be seen and heard and read throughout the entire time at ABC Now. Just go to your internet, and that's where we are. This is the Fleet Center, the home of the Boston Celtics, the basketball team, and of the Boston Bruins, the hockey team. And it has been transformed in the last couple of days or the last couple of weeks at government expense into the home of the Democratic National Convention. And as we walk into this place, those of us who cover politics in a very vigorous way every 4 years and stand in this place, it looks like many other cities we've been in, but you get a sense of why reporters from around the world find it an irresistible occasion on the American political democratic calendar to come to. As you look around the inside, you see many of the familiar signs of news organizations who serve the United States and other parts of the world. There are many more foreign broadcasters and other news agencies here than there have been in times past. The interest in this year's American election is very intense overseas. In a couple of hours, about 4 hours from now, there'll be about 4,000 delegates here, and I think there are 3 times as many reporters as there are here from around the world. And it is a huge production for the Democratic Convention, and in order to get us underway, if I can find him somewhere in here, I want to talk to the man who is the executive producer of all this, Don Mischer, who I haven't seen in a long time. How are you?
All right, Peter, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. How are you?
And just to introduce you to people is Don Mischer, who, among other things, has been the executive producer of the opening and closing ceremonies for the Olympics at Salt Lake City.
Right.
I think the last time I saw you was at a 100th anniversary of Carnegie Hall in New York City.
That's correct.
What's the other great events that you've done?
Well, we do a lot of big events. We produce the events in Victoria Harbor when Hong Kong was handed over to China.
I remember that.
We've done the 100th anniversary of Carnegie Hall. We've done the Kennedy Center Honors. You know, we love doing live television and big events.
Now, does that bother you? Take it off.
A little bit. I know you're used to wearing this, but
well,
anyway.
none of us are used to what's actually happening here.
Okay.
First of all, are you apolitical in this regard? Could you do the Republicans as easily as the Democrats?
Probably not. I mean, I've pretty much been a lifelong Democrat. I worked for Humphrey in '68. I worked for McGovern in '72. When I ended up moving to California, I got so busy that I kind of didn't become or keep, politically active. But I was not hired because I am a Democrat. I think that I was hired because we have a track record in producing big events like this.
This is a huge extravaganza for the Democratic Party. It is something they and we both recognize as a very calculated, almost precise presentation of their party to the country in the next 4 days. Where do you come in?
Well, we met with the DNC back in January, even before Kerry had emerged as the leader, and we began to talk about how to make this convention different. Is there a way to contemporize it? We went back and looked at a lot of past conventions, and we began to make some observations, which we hoped to make a few changes with. I mean, one is, at most past conventions, there's one mark, one podium, where for 4 days everyone speaks.
You've got 2 podiums here?
We've tried to break it up. We have 2 podiums, which allows us to go back and forth. And while one person is speaking at one podium, we might be able to preset a children's choir at the other podium. It should give us more of a sense of rhythm, more dynamic, and so forth. Also, we found that the speakers were often way above on these monolithic constructs.
And they all seem a bit lower to the ground this time.
We've lowered everything. We're trying to create more intimacy with both the podiums. The speakers and the delegates are closer to one another. We've also, we will actually have this year functioning convention business going on behind the podiums. So we have staff back on stage right and on stage left actually working during the course of the convention, and at times you will see them in the background.
There's a whole room here where all of the speeches that are given at the convention are going to be vetted by the Kerry staff to make sure that everybody's on message.
We have a couple of rooms downstairs where people come in to simply rehearse, check the prompter, check the phrasing, make adjustments as they need it, because we don't have enough time to rehearse everyone up here.
Walk with me for a second,
Yes.
because you mentioned the fact that you have a teleprompter here. Good morning.
Good morning.
And this is the thing that the audience at home very rarely gets to see, which is the teleprompter way at the other end. How do you guarantee that somebody can see that far?
The teleprompter is here for people who want it. There'll be some who will speak extemporaneously. Others will use the